I don't even know how to introduce you because you have such a what would I say? You have such a resume. You have such a resume. But we're gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Convos with Cruger, and I'm here with an entrepreneur, a motivator, and a strong, I'm sure, black woman. And I want to touch on that subject because I had an interesting conversation with a lady the other day, and I want to touch on that. But anyway, nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Milaune T Baker. She has so much behind her name. I'm going to go ahead and let her get into that because I don't want to miss nothing or mess nothing up. So tell us what Milaune T Baker Enterprise is all about.
Okay, well, Milaune T Baker Enterprises is an umbrella of things. I started out with just my salon, and that's the Chi Boudoir, which I'm the owner of that. And then I do so much. I mentor kids, I mentor women, I have costume parties that the mascots that you get into, like when you see the Minnie Mouse and things at parties, I have those. I have a foundation called Grow, getting rid of waste for women. I do a lot, so I decided to just put it in one thing, my name, enterprise, and just umbrella from that. So
okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So we got to back up. We're going to have to back up because
we got to break it down now. Yeah. We got to break it down.
Definitely got to break it down. So first, let's take a step back before any of this.
Right.
Tell me who Milaune T Baker was.
So before I say this year was very pivotal for me. It was a very coming into myself type of year. I am 31 years old, and up until August of last year, I did not know what self-love was, or I didn't realize that I was a walking powerhouse and I didn't need permission from anybody to be me but myself. And that was up until, like I said, August of last year. And that's when I found my purpose. That's when I found my vision. And that's when I started moving towards goals aligned for my life. Before August, I knew I had something in me that I always wanted to be a boss. I always dreamed of being an entrepreneur, but mentally my mind was not stable enough to even hold the capacity of the title of a boss. I couldn't even move like that because I was too unstable mentally. And it's just from what I was exposed to, just what I've learned how to live and seeing different things and just being molded a certain way through childhood, through my adult years. And finally, it all just broke me down one day. I was trying to ask myself this question, the same question that you just asked me. I asked myself one morning in August. I was like, who is Milaune Baker? And that question really just broke me down because I couldn't answer it wholeheartedly because I didn't know. At that time, I was doing insurance agency, and before that, I was doing CNA work. I literally have a resume for any any job that I want to apply for. I have 4 resumes, maybe 5. And at that point, it was okay, are you living for yourself to make yourself happy? Are you doing things to make others happy? Are you doing it for the clout from your mom or from the clout from social media? Or who are you living for? And those type questions brought me to a depression because I couldn't answer it. And for some months, I went to therapy. I'm really big on therapy, guys. Therapy is good. But I went to therapy, and therapy really taught me how to, I call it a factory reset. You know how when you get a phone and you put all this silly stuff in it and you get a virus and the phone starts acting up and all this? Well, I call it a factory reset because that's how I was. I had all this stuff stored in me, and I just needed to basically reset it. And when you reset it, you do a hard reset, all that stuff goes away and you put new things in on top of it. And that's how that was. So the main thing is when you take things out, you always have to add something there to take that place of whatever you take out. So I took all the negativity away and replaced it with positive things to start working on.
What was that biggest block keeping you away from getting that clarity?
The biggest block was not having self-love. That was my biggest block. Not knowing who I was, the core of me, I was exposed. I was very superficial. So I cared about the way I dressed and looked. That was the main thing. I didn't care too much about the deeper, or letting people know the deeper part of me first. I just wanted them to be impressed with what was on the outside first. And so that led to very superficial friendships, very just a superficial life, and couldn't get a deeper connection and meaning with a lot of things just because of my mentality first. And I think sometimes with people, we like to blame the outside and people and things, but sometimes it's our mentality that we need to fix first. And I bet you when you fix your mentality, the things around you attract different. The things around you change also. So it was definitely self-love, because with me not knowing my worth, I settled for a lot of things that I should have settled for. I accepted a lot of things that I shouldn't have accepted, and I just didn't know that I was capable of being Milaune T Baker, who I am, just unapologetically me. I didn't know that I was capable of that. I literally thought that I had to have my mom's permission, or I thought I had to have the social media likes permission, because all that is kind of permission. Like, girl, you doing your thing, but it's false permission, because sometimes people love you, sometimes you don't. And I think those highs of don't loving me, what drove me, like, what do I need to do to make that love sustain? But it's all superficial. So you have to have that love right here for yourself. And if you have that for yourself, you won't chase that you won't chase those.
So you went to therapy.
Yes,
and when do you think you start running? If that's the right word, running from self-love. When did you realize, like, it wasn't something in your younger years that maybe you was missing, that made you become superficial, or made you think superficially?
Most definitely. And I found this out in therapy. I didn't even know I had childhood issues in therapy. That's why I said I recommend therapy to everyone, because the things I unlocked in therapy mentally, and things that I had hidden and crammed in my brain for years, that I let molded and shape me to be the grown-up that I was. And when I just started releasing those things and unraveling, it was like, woo, like, I am super toxic. And I didn't even know, like, I'm just living this superficial toxic life and didn't even know. I mean, I'm a good person, but just the core of me was I wasn't connected with the core of me. So I would say in therapy, I realized as a child that, like, me and my sisters are different, and I needed a certain type of validation, whether it was from a parent, from someone close. I needed that validation. And this is how I am with my daughters. Like, I most definitely validate them as a mother. I tell them they're beautiful every day. I tell them and my mother was awesome, so don't get me wrong. She's awesome. There's no guideline to being a mom, so let me just say that we do the best we can. But so with my daughters, I definitely let them know that you are queens, you are beautiful. I give them their affirmations daily, because I don't want them to search for that validation in the world. And if the world's telling you that you're somebody, you might be Hannah, Joe, Tim, Brock, who knows, if you don't have that validation. And that's what it was for me mainly. I just needed to, I explored a lot. And so I needed those words to just kind of phone me on in.
So that's kind of your love language.
Yeah,
words of affirmation.
Most definitely words of affirmation. That's my love language. What you know about love languages?
See, I'm married.
So, so you gotta know about love language.
I have to, and
everybody I date, now, when I'm in the dating scene, I tell them, you gotta know a love language to have your partner respond to you. If you don't know their love language, or you don't know your own love language, how are you gonna respond effectively?
Right, that was one thing that we learned in marriage counseling.
Most definitely.
I'm touchy.
Right.
And that's my love language.
Touch.
Yeah.
It's 5, guys.
Yeah.
It's 5.
It is 5.
Yeah.
And my wife is quality time.
Quality time.
So I know about it,
Okay.
And,
Acts of services, quality time, physical touch.
It's gifts.
Words of affirmation, and I was like gifts or something. But yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Y'all Google that.
Yeah, it's a good thing to Google. But one thing you said, and you don't hear people be as honest, you say you were toxic.
Right.
Explain that. Break that down.
And I think in order for people to change, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to say like, okay, it's me and it's not them. You know how they say it's you, it's not me. Yeah, seriously, it's me and it's not them. Now, I may have interacted and been in certain situations with people that were toxic too, but I just really feel like you attract, it's something in me that attracts certain situations. And like I said, when I went to therapy, I really saw that. I think when I say toxic, I think being superficial to me was the most toxic trait that I had. I was very into financial, just dating for financial stability, nothing more to the core. Just looks, the things I drove, the places I lived in, just kind of really putting on this facade that I thought would maybe please the world and not more so of myself. And those things run out. They run out. They are not, the applaud of people run out, the superficial friendship, they all just run out. And I think for me, when I went through my depression, it was time, it all ran out. Like, I didn't get that applause that I thought I wanted. I wasn't dating the person off of the core values that I'm built on today, so that was stressing me out. The job, I wasn't working in my passion, my purpose, and I was only working that job because I honestly, to tell you the truth, I thought it was going to make my mama happy. So that's why I was working that job, but I was literally miserable every day. And it was just like, dude, like, Milaune, who are you? And that's why I said I was toxic. I mean, I did some people wrong, and I apologize to y'all.
That's big.
No, that's big, right?
Yeah.
On camera, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's why I said I was toxic. And I think if we all dig a little deeper, because we all want to be the best version. That should be the goal. That's my goal now. I want to be the best version of Milaune every day. Like, I want to improve something about me every day. And it's always something to improve. We're never not just perfect, because we ain't Jesus, we ain't God. So it's always something to improve. And big ups to God, because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't even be where I am.
Do you feel like you were disconnected from reality?
Most definitely. That's a perfect way to put it. And I think with a lot of people and a lot of kids these days, with social media and the entertainment world, and just everything seems so superficial. And I keep using that word because that's what it is, and that's how some of these kids are being raised to think that, you know, you gotta have a nice car to be validated, or you gotta have this type of weave, or you gotta have this big old booty for women, or you gotta have, or for guys, you gotta, you know, exude this thug mentality to be considered a tough guy or something like that. Like, it's kind of straying away from the core of people. It seems like that doesn't even matter anymore. So definitely, sometimes we're just not in touch with reality. And I think that's what therapy did for me. It just, because after therapy, I just like skyrocketed mentally. It's just not even financially. I mean, all that stuff came, but mentally, it was like all those things was just behind me. I forgave that version of myself, because that's something we have to do too, because that was big on me. I remembered so many things that I did that I wasn't proud of when I was that version of Milaune, to sometimes that weighed on me too, because those things made me feel unworthy of the things that I had that was coming to me. And I just didn't feel like sometimes I was worthy of those things. So I had to forgive that version of myself, because I didn't have the wisdom that I have today. So when I did forgive the version of myself, boom, it's, you know, started going to higher grounds.
What does that even mean, and how do you forgive yourself? Because I don't, like, some people may not be able to wrap their mind.
Right.
What does it mean to forgive yourself?
Just like, okay, so now I'm at a point where I can't go back. I have too much wisdom and knowledge to even be in certain places that I was in 2 years ago or a year ago, or being around certain people. And for me, it was certain situations that I dealt with, or let's just use a guy for example, because that's a good example. A guy that I dealt with, and at that time I played myself short, or different things happened, and it's like, dang, you knew better than that. Like, you were better than that. And that just made me feel like, it just made me feel bad. Like, I knew better. It came from the shame of the people that knew that was going on, or just the shame for myself of not speaking up for myself. And sometimes that doesn't make me feel worthy of a new man. Like, it just makes me feel like, you know, I'm not ready, this and that. But you got to get out of that mindset. You got to forgive yourself. I got to forgive myself that I didn't speak up then, and now speak up. Because like I said, it's all about pushing out the negativity and replacing it with positivity. So if I didn't speak up then, now I can speak up. I'm worthy of this new life. You get what I'm saying? Or
kind of. I want to know, like, how hard is that to do?
it's hard. It's hard because we do some pretty messed up things, whether people know about it or not. And those things are embedded in our mind. And I don't know, I'm an overthinker. I would sit up all night and think about one thing that I did. Used to sit up all night and think about one thing that I did for hours, and maybe even cry about it, maybe even hurt about it, maybe even feel for the person that I've hurt. And it's like, sometimes closure is hard because that person may not even forgive you. So you got to kind of forgive yourself, pray about it, and just try to move on, and just know things happen, mistakes happen. We're only human. But as long as you're trying to fix those things and you don't wallow right there, that's the thing. You have to, a process is something that keeps going, right? So in your process of changing and bettering yourself, you cannot stop in your process. Because if you stop, that's when depression sets in, or that's when the enemy attacks, because of out of mind, right? That's when he attacks. So you just got to keep moving on in the process.
Oh, that makes sense. I don't mind.
That's the devil's playground.
Yeah, I hear you speak a lot about depression. Did you experience?
Yeah, most definitely. Man, I think I could tell the story without tearing up, because that was a very dark place in my life. And I'm the type of person, I'm so strong. As women, we are just taught to be these rocks, right? We are taught to be not vulnerable, not weak, and just keep all your emotions inside. But I'm also the type of person that everybody else would come talk to me. And I'm giving out these good advice, and I'm telling people how to live and different things, and it's helping them. But for me, it's like, why can't I take my own advice? And on top of that, I didn't have anyone else to just tell what was going on. I called my dad. That's my best friend. I called him and I'm like, Dad, I feel this, and that. And he was like, yes. You know, shake it off, daughter, you got this. And I'm like, I can't shake this one off, Daddy. Like, I can't. So after I called him and he said that, and I kind of gave up on my faith then too, because I was like, God, why would you allow me to be in this place where I am? So I gave up on my faith. I wasn't praying then also. So I literally sat in my bed and I cried for, we'll say, about 2 months. I quit my job. I didn't have any finances rolling in. This was in August. I didn't have any finances rolling in. I couldn't really take care of my kids properly. They would walk in, they would see me crying. I would be so emotional with them and just lash out at people that didn't do anything to me. I had got so conformed to depression that I would tell family members that I'm on my cycle, I can't go out. Like, you know, I was making up excuses while I couldn't be in the faces of people because I didn't want to be around people. And I think the main thing about depression is what you tell yourself. Because at that time I was telling myself I wasn't worthy. I was thinking about all those mean things that I did or how toxic I was. I was thinking about just I was telling myself I was ugly. I didn't like to look in the mirror. I hated my body. These are the things I was telling myself. I was telling myself that I'm just going to settle for this lifestyle. I'm not going to do anything different. And the more I told myself these horrible things, my brain pounced on it. It pounced on it. And eventually it changed the chemical imbalance. That's something else, you know, you guys, it's medical. But and eventually it changed the way I thought and viewed life. So I was in this dark hole forever. Finally, one day, I was talking to my best friend. Her name is Shanitra, and she was like, girl, get out of it. I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired of hearing about what's not going right, and this is not you. And she was kind of like pouring into me, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. And she gave me this song. It's a church song. I can't remember, and I'm listening to the words, and it was like, wow, okay, I've been homeless before. I've been carless before. I've been in deeper, darker situations that God just pulled me right up out of. And I don't know why I keep falling into a situation or into a dark situation, but the same God that delivered me from those situations, of course he could deliver me from these situations. I just need to get the formula and stick with it. So that's when I prayed on it, and he sent me to therapy. And my biggest thing with therapy was the expectations of people. Because I'm from Lake City, it's a small town, so I was thinking, what if these people see me when I walk in here? And it's me. So I kid you not, the first time I walked into Meridian, this girl said, "Hey, Milaune!" I was like, I was like, oh my God, somebody see me. She was like, "What you doing here?" I'm like, "Girl, I'm crazy." Like, for real though, I'm crazy. No. She was like, "What you doing? What you think I'm doing here?" But I was on the wrong side, so she really wanted to know why I was on this psycho side, the psycho ward. But anyway, so they just kind of eased it up, because I was like, it is what it is. I got to go through this battle on my own. I came in this world alone. I got to get this journey. This journey is for myself, so I can't worry about what people think about me. And so,
how hard was it to accept that? Because you say you walked in, somebody noticed you, and sometimes we can say things in a sarcastic manner to try to brush it off. How did that moment feel like?
It felt, first of all, I was like, you being too nosy. That's the main thing. Okay, this is HIPAA policy violation. But it felt like this is the main reason why I didn't want to come. But at the same time, it made me confront my fears too. That's the thing. Sometimes we just got to confront our fears. And that was confronting my fear one-on-one. People knowing that I'm off a little bit and I need help. But I think society has made feelings and emotions and therapy so like crazy. Like, you're crazy if you feel this way, or suck it up, or this and that, or pray about it. And we do pray about it, but God put people in places to deliver us too. So that's to help deliver us. So,
I think most of us have thoughts that we just don't deal with.
most definitely.
And
Most
like
definitely.
being black, you don't hear about us going to therapy.
Yeah, man, I pushed that thing so hard. Even if you just the slightest little feelings and different things, you don't have to be super depressed to go to therapy. Therapy gave me tools. It educated myself on how I think mentally and how I work, how my brain works mentally. I learned about the frontal lobe of my brain, the back lobe. I learned about just different areas of my body that emotion lies in, just different things to just release and just dig myself out of that depression. I'm not gonna tell you though, well, I'm gonna tell you. The first time I went into Meridian, they told me I was bipolar. And that's another thing, guys. You can't now, make sure you deal with professionals to figure these things out, but sometimes people just diagnose you from where you are right then and there, but they don't know your full story. And that's what kind of happened. I came in there, I had a month of craziness because I was so, depressed and different things like that. And the characteristics of my depression also sounded like bipolar. So you just got to think about it. When he told me that, my whole world crashed, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got kids, I'm bipolar. I need to go do this and that. And I came home and I broke the news to my dad, and it was like another month before I even talked to a counselor. So I'm going through a whole month of just craziness all over again. And I say that, and I try to be so open, because sometimes we let the words of people conform us, and we let it sit in our brain, and we conform to what they say instead of doing something different. So when I went back to therapy like a month after that first session, she was like, "Honey, you're not bipolar at all. You just have bad coping mechanisms, for one. You're too impulsive when things happen, and you need to learn how to control your emotions." And when we kind of worked through it, I was like, you know what, you might be right. I do spend money when I'm upset. I do talk to different people, and I do use sex as a healer for voice, and it makes it worse, and it sends me on another rampage. I have horrible coping mechanisms. I don't drink. I drink a little bit, but some people drink for coping mechanisms. Some people smoke. Some people cuss people out. For me, it was mainly filling those voids with money and people. That was my void filler, because at the moment, temporarily, those things made me feel good. So, and I just had to work those things out. So now, instead of going from 0 to 1,000, I'm 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 and back down to 0. But it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of training to even get there. And that's where I was in the trenches training y'all for like 3 months,
Wow.
getting my mind straight.
That's That's very informative because earlier you spoke about taking those negative things, replacing them with
Most
positive
definitely.
things. And we talk about crying. And that's one thing that me and my wife use in our relationship, our marriage. I always tell her, it's okay if we go through the same thing over and over again. Long as you're addressing it, long as you're
Yes.
moving through it.
Yes.
Because you have to break the foundation
Most definitely.
to build a new foundation.
That's it.
So when you start putting those positive things back into your life, removing those negative things, what path did you see that you start taking?
Oh my goodness. And this is like the miracle part of it, or this is the biggest part that I want everyone to grasp and to get. You're not your past, period. You're not who people say you are. You're not, I promise you, I don't care who you was yesterday, if you want to say you want to be Oprah in 30 seconds, when you change your mind and make your mind up to be who you want to be, you are that person. I don't care what thoughts people have of you. You are who you say you are. And when I say give yourself permission, because that's my favorite quote that I say, give yourself permission, allow yourself to be who you want to be and live unapologetically. So when I started just taking those things out, the universe was good on me. It was like, okay, I see you changing, so let me put this opportunity in your way. Just like different opportunities started coming, and I prayed for patience. And I prayed for purpose and passion. That's the main thing. Like, God, I do everything. I'm good at a lot of things. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none, basically. So please just give me patience and purpose, because I never had patience. I wanted a quick flip. I wanted a quick life, basically, temporary. But I'm asking him for a foundation that's not going to shake, that's not going to break. And even if it's shaky, it doesn't break. So when I start praying for those things, I prayed for patience first. And he said, you know how to do hair. This is him talking to me at 4 o'clock. I get up 4 o'clock every morning to do my morning meditations. I read my Bible and I have conversations with him. And I was like, hair? I hate hair. You mean to tell me I have to sit still for 4 hours? I have to still deal with the expectation of people, because what if they don't like what I do and I get anxiety? So God has a sense of humor to me. Sometimes he'll put you in the main places that confront all your fears, so you can tackle them. You can tackle them and not let them, tackle you, basically. So I started doing hair in my shed, and I kid you not, the first 3 heads I did, I was so rusty. And those people was leaving a little messed up. I wasn't as perfect as I was now. And when I tell you, I thought about that thing for like all night. But it's like, okay, you're conditioning, you're training yourself to get over these things. And so that's what hair did for me. So through hair, my passion, and I didn't even know it was my passion until I started training myself. Because sometimes people want things that happen overnight. Y'all got to go through the struggle. I had to train myself to be as good as I am. I used to get up on YouTube every morning, hours, practice on my children, practice, make sacrifices. No, I can't go out this night. I got to sit home and study how to be greater at what I do, so it can show. And I started out in my shed. Clients started coming, and it's just like the universe just opened up for me, and everything I put out, it was coming back to me. And
so moving from here, what other journey did you see that opened up?
I was able to, so since therapy was so great to me, and I always talk to women about life, women always talk to me. I can be in the store and this girl be like, yeah, my husband just cheated on me. I'm like, dang, I ain't asked for that. But I have words for her at that moment to help her through it. And I think that's one of my best qualities. So I was able to capitalize, not monetary, but capitalize mentally and positively off of talking and speaking life and inspiring people. And then they're speaking life and motivating me too. So that journey just opened up even more. Because when you're sitting down in my chair and we sitting there for 3 hours, we talking, honey. And it's more than just the gossip, or it's deep. I have women that come and tell me that their life has changed totally, and I love to hear that. And it's some women that poured into me, and it makes me even a better person or a better woman. So most definitely my foundation grow is it's growing, getting rid of waste, and that's what that comes from, getting rid of the negativity and replacing positivity with it. So that's another avenue that opened up.
Explain growth and how you came into that.
So when I was living in Stark, about 6 or 7 years ago, it was grout, getting rid of unwanted toxins. It was something like that. And I was not ready. I knew I held the thought of it and I held the passion for it, but God he wasn't done with me yet. I had to experience a lot more things. I had to go through that breakdown, that mental breakdown. I had to go through a lot of things to even mold me to be a better advocate for what I was trying to do. So when I started in Stark, it was just, I knew I wanted to help people. I talked to women, this and that, but it was always the main foundation of getting rid of toxins, getting rid of negativity, getting rid of those bad emotions and different things like that. So I started with conferences, and I have conferences here in Lake City, and a bunch of women get together, and we just talk. We just let it out. It's a place where women can feel safe, they can feel vulnerable, and they can know that this womanhood and this sisterhood, we are celebrating each other, and hey sis, I got your back. That's the main thing. And it's like when we get here, we talk about mental growing, we talk about spiritual growing, we talk about our kids, how to be a better mother. We just lay it all on the line. And I've had like 5 or 6 so far, and they have all been a blessing. Girl has taken me places, Texas, South Carolina. It's taken me places just to link up with like-minded women, because iron sharpens iron, period. And we just we just connect. And I also do growth for young ladies, and that's a mentoring program I have at Knee Black Elementary. Not now because I'm at a different school, but I've did that for the past few years. And that's amazing too, because guess what? Our kids are the future. We have to pour into these kids like none other. Who's gonna be our next Barack Obama? Who's gonna be our next Michelle Obama? We have to pour into these kids like none other, because they're the future. And social media and entertainment, they don't really bad influence.
Let me ask you this, because I want, when you start talking about that, that's the first thing that I thought about, social media. How big of an impact do you think they have over these young ladies, young girls, and what age do you think they're starting to be affected by it?
Oh man, with me having 2 daughters, so I see it play right out before my eyes, but I'm old fashioned, I don't play that. So, but I think really around the age of 4 or 5, and that's very young, but you got to think about it. You got TikTok, and my 2-year-old know how to pick up the phone and go to TikTok or go to YouTube. So I really say where it starts, really soaking in their mind is at like 4 or 5, because when you pick up TikTok, you're seeing the different dances. They may be hearing these words, they might not know exactly what they mean, but they're being exposed to it. So it's just the exposure of it all. And I see like some parents, and I'm not talking about nobody parenting, but you cannot let TikTok or social media raise your kids. You have to have the most influence on your kids' life, just even when they go to school or anything, because this world it's tough. It's rough out here. And so for my girls, we can only do so many. It's a lot of time for TikTok. It's a lot of time. Just they don't have social media like Facebook, but it's just a lot of time for TikTok, because I need to see that you're doing more progressing and more positive things than you are just all this. Yeah. So sick of it, man. we in what was this? Was Publix. And I'm like, Chaylin, that's my daughter named Chaylin, get the milk. She was like, yeah, get the milk. It's like, Chaylin, get the bread. I said, I'm gonna chop you in your neck. If you do one more dance routine before I tell you to go pick up some groceries, but things like that really irks me, because I like to see I know they're just kids, but I need to see a more positive reflection before anything. I'm allowed them to be kids, I'm allowed them to play, but I gotta make sure the direction and my influence is way stronger than all that stuff, because that's the one they like to do too. But Anyway, so yeah, that's how it is. So.
That's funny because I see we were in Walmart the other day and my daughter was doing the same thing.
That's it. It's just like it's routine, and I talk big about how we program our mind, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like it's getting routine in their brain for that to be their first reaction, and that I don't like that. I don't like that. It makes me feel some type of way. So I try to just really limit the outside influence because this world is going to be waiting for them. It is. Mm-hmm. When we release them to the world, it's gonna be there. So at least when I release them, I want that foundation to be so thick and so strong that even if they do fall, they always have that thick, strong foundation to go back to. Say, Mama said this or this and that. So yeah.
Give me one of those, like something your parents may have told you that just clicked with you when you finally came into your own.
That's hard. Okay, so here's the thing. That's hard because my mom, awesome lady, but she's not big on the affectionate side. And she's not big on the verbal communication. She always told me, I show you love by the things I do, how I do them for you, what the lengths I'm willing to go for you, the miles I'm willing to run. This is how I love you. So I guess her love language was acts of services.
Right.
So so that's something that stuck with me. And then my dad, he's more emotional type, and I love you every day. So he's words of affirmation and different things like that. So I don't want to say it's more so what they said. It's more so of how they showed me what love is in their different aspects, and I just took both of their sides. I took that toughness from my mom, and I took that emotional side from my dad, put it together, and it just kind of made a good balance. But I had to learn that too, because sometimes I could be too tough and didn't have that balance of emotional connection, and I saw that with my kids sometimes, and I had to say, whoa, wait a minute, I know how that made me feel at sometimes, so I have to pour in that emotional side, that nurturing side.
So you understood their love language.
So I understood their love language when I got older. I didn't understand when I was
All
younger.
right.
When I was younger, I was like, "Oh, Daddy, you been too touching. Mama, you too hard." But as I got older, I definitely understand it, and it's great. And it's one thing that my dad told me now, though, in business. He's been an entrepreneur for over 30 years, and he told me to adapt. I think that's the best. That's the best information or what he could give me. Adapt. When things happen, adapt and keep going. Don't let it just knock you off your pivot. You just gotta do what you gotta do. You just gotta adapt. Life is gonna happen, and I think that's the best thing he could have ever told me.
Okay. Now we was talking about women. You're a black woman. Now you see the new movement, if you've been paying attention, to protect black women.
Oh yeah.
I spoke with someone the other night, and they were talking about I didn't ask to be labeled as a strong black woman. And she said, as a black woman, we have to be everything to everybody.
Yes.
How does the term strong black woman affect you in a positive or negative manner, or have you ever gave thought to that term, strong black woman?
Now that's a very touchy subject for me because, like I said, that's what drove me. I mean, that's what drove me, part of what drove me into depression. And when I think about people, women around me, my mom, my grandma, my friends, it's the same narrative. And it's sad. It's sad because we feel like no one has our back and we're not protected. And I'm at a point in my life where I kind of contradict myself on the way I move. But to be that strong black woman, I feel like I have to, because let me tell you, when I say contradict, so deep down inside, right? I'm single. I'm not really dating like that, but I desire a guy I want to be vulnerable to this guy, right? I want to let him lead. I want to just put my defenses down and just sit back and say, you got this, bro. I want this so bad. I don't move like that, though. I move like a beast. I move like I don't care nothing about love. I move like, I'm this independent woman. I got this. I don't need a man for nothing. But guess what? I do. I want a man. And I desire a man, but just to keep up that that persona of this strong black woman, and just to feel protected because I feel like I'm all that I have to keep it up. I have to be this strong black woman. So I think a lot of women are dealing and battling with that right now because for their emotions, they have to keep their emotions bottled up, because I see so many women that try to even say certain things and it's like, boom, 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 they get lashed out of, like they're not human. Like you can't say that. You can't let people in on how you feel for real, or you're gonna seem weak. And that's sad because that's driving people crazy. Some people just need to let it out. And what's the other thing that's sad, we all go through the same things. As women, we literally go through the same thing. So I feel like if we could just sit in this hut and just expose it all to each other, and I hug you after you say it, and I hug, and we just have this kumbaya moment, we won't have to just live up to this title as this strong black independent. Like where does this even become a thing? I don't know if it because, and this is an argument that we have, men are becoming more like women. I don't know. I don't want to say it. I feel like, women are trying to take this strong role, and men have stepped down a little bit to a lesser role, like a female role. And that's what I'm running into. I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I'm running into. Men that want to be taken care of, men that no longer cares about the leadership of being a man, or learning what it takes to be a man, how to correctly take care of a household, how to be that foundation, how to be that rock, so I can feel safe enough. Because that's my thing. If I'm not going to feel safe enough to be vulnerable and to be led by you, I'm going to have my guard up the whole time. And that doesn't feel good either, because you want to be in something that you feel safe. So that's a whole nother, probably show we can talk about, because there's so much into that. So I don't know. I guess my advice for women is to find that safe haven. Whether it's therapy, whether it's a friend, find somewhere to let it out, and just know you're human, and just let it out and release it, because that's what we need sometimes.
Well, that was interesting, and I think that we're gonna have to have more talk like
most
this.
Most definitely, because I can go on.
Yeah.
For years about that conversation. So.
We gotta have that conversation, and she said that we should get a group, but we'll talk about that later. But where do you see yourself going, and what's some things you got going on right now?
So I still have my salon in Lake City, the Chichi Boudoir. We have right now 7 girls in there. We have a barbershop. In there we have a cosmetologist, braiders, esthetician, nail techs, and we have a side where I call it the Chi-Chi meditation room. And that's just where you go and sit in a sauna and just relax and just breathe and let it all out. So I have that there, that's running Monday through Sunday. You guys look me up on Facebook, the Chi-Chi Boudoir, that's where you can book it. But I am also over here in Gainesville, say here because we're in Gainesville, at Fine Line Barbershop, and I have a chair there, so I'm there Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday for right now. I teach classes. I teach people how to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm not scared of no one superseding me or doing better than me. I want that. I want to take care of this generation. I want to make women financially stable and different routes of just bettering themselves. So that's why I teach these classes. When I teach her classes, I'm also talking about motivation. I'm also talking about that factory reset with your brain, what's going on with you, just different things to make women, expose them to different things and more well-rounded. So that's my goal. I am trying to kind of branch out into a beauty health instructor, and also just life coach, doing more women conferences and things like that. I love hair. That's always going to be my base, but reaching out to people and just inspiring people, motivating people, that inspires me. That motivates me to keep going. And I'm not perfect, because I promise you I'm always learning lessons. I think sometimes God just throw me a curveball just to see if I'm really, on that path. Because just like I'm telling people to grow, I need to grow too. And sometimes those curveballs just blindside me, and sometimes I react like the old Milaune, but then I got to think about it. And when you're changing, you can't just react. You have to think first, and then handle the situation accordingly.
So give us a motto, a quote, anything that you could put out there that somebody may grab, that may impact them in a positive way? Give me something.
My quote, I tell people this all the time. Once you release your mind of mental bondage, once you learn, because it's an active thing. You have to learn how to do this. Once you release just the negative thoughts, release the negative emotions, forgive yourself, you have to give yourself permission to be great. You have to tell yourself that you are worthy of all the greatness that's coming your way. You have to tell yourself you're worthy of all the money that's coming yourself. Because if you don't feel it, who else gonna feel it? It's you. It's your body. It's your mind. So you have to be in one with who you are and constantly work on yourself. Have me time. Have time for yourself. Even if you have kids, even if you have a husband, if you have a boyfriend, you have to exist solely. You have to know that you are who you are, so you can be better for these people, for you can be better for your kids, for your husband, or however. Like for me right now, like I said, I'm not dating. I'm trying to exist before coexisting with somebody else. So I want to make sure when I coexist with this person, I'm bringing more to the table to add on to whatever, or he's bringing more to the table to add on, instead of each other taking away because I'm still broken and not healing. So just heal and give yourself permission to just be unapologetically you. Don't care about what people say about you. You have to live like that. I mean, like I tell people sometimes, I'm on Facebook, I can post a picture of hair and I'll get maybe 500 likes, right? Then the next day I post a picture and I get 10 likes. Did that change my quality of hair? No. Maybe one day people messing with you and one day they ain't. But you can't let those type things make you feel like, oh, I need to do something different. No, you stay you, remain you. People catch up, and if they don't catch up, guess what? It ain't meant for them, and it is what it is. So be in your season and be unapologetically you. Give
That just helped me. That helped me.
Oh, good.
That helped me.
Good.
All right, so how can we get in contact with you? I mean, break down each thing. Tell us how we can.
Right. Okay. So my Facebook page, the Chi Boudoir. It is up and running for bookings for everything. If you need a mascot, you can book up there. If you want to do a one-on-one session for teaching, you can book up there. For hairstyles, you can book for either location, whether it's Gainesville or Lake City. You can book even if you have an idea about women empowerment or doing conferences, spa parties, or anything. You can book on my Chi Boudoir. I have an assistant. She helps me with that. Whenever you write, she's pretty good about getting right back at you. Me or my Facebook page, Milaune Baker, Milaune. You can reach me on that too.
Okay. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, that's pretty much it. I thank you for allowing me the time to just express myself, put it all out there in the air. Hope that I can help somebody on their journey. Motivate somebody, inspire me. I thank you for doing your thing. And just letting this be a platform for people to speak. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this interview. Don't let this be the last time. We'll have to come back and do it again. I want to say it's a few historic milestones here, because you're actually one of the first people that reached out to me. You're the first interview that we did inside. Right. You're going to help me expand, and I appreciate that, and I'm proud of what you're doing. I support you, and I just wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We out, y'all.